Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. As today we got another episode of reviewing NHL teams offseason so far. As today we got the Edmonton Oilers ahead of us as they had a pretty busy offseason to say the least, signing some of their younger players in Kayla Yamamoto and Puljujärvi and getting Kane locked up on a pretty nice deal. And the finally getting a starting goaltender in Jack Campbell as well. So before we get into talking about my favorite team, I'd like to just say if you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. It'll be very much appreciated there, boys. So let's get into this one here with the Edmonton Oilers. As you guys all know from seeing a few of my videos already, I've talked about a lot of these moves. Now we're going to be dissecting them and I guess, putting a grade on everything that has happened for the Edmonton Oilers this past offseason, which they've done a decent amount. They got the three big guys that they need to get back: Kane, Yamamoto, and Puljujärvi. They also re-signed Kulak and Jack Campbell, as now we have a really great tandem of the Stew and Campbell. The soup and stew, baby. But let's get into the very first thing, which was the draft here for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, of course, we really didn't have a whole lot of picks. Shafer, I thought, was a pretty good selection, kind of like a very physical, a upgraded Zach Kassian, basically. A Alex Kilroy kind of comparable is what Corey Proman kind of drawed it to. He gave this draft a C+, mostly because Reid Shafer was a good selection, but then everyone else from there, we didn't have a whole lot of depth. Samuel Johansson, goaltender from the Swedish League, was okay. Nikita Yevsemin, the big defenseman from Russia, and Yoel Mata, who looked pretty good there in the World Juniors there for Finland, produced a decent amount of points, 4 points in 5 games, and honestly didn't look that bad for Finland as well. But, it's definitely a long-term project out of him, to say the least. But Reid Shafer was the big one. Reid Shafer, who played really well for the Seattle Thunderbirds, was a big guy for their playoffs and had 32 goals in 66 games this past season, is a big physical guy, hits a lot, and is that kind of guy that's going to probably be like a middle six type of potential player, where he's going to be, maybe playing in the second line a little bit, maybe just play about anywhere if he could really be that kind of guy that can be a really good, oh my god, why am I forgetting the word? A really good player to go alongside of just about anybody, right? He's going to be a really physical player, could play up on the second, third line, a complementary player. There's the word. There we go, boys. There we go. But that's what I see about Reid Shafer. Really physical, great shot. Definitely not the greatest skating in the world, but an amazing shot out of Reid Shafer, and is a very heavy hitter, to say the least. So I'll move on to the trade that happened for the Edmonton Oilers, where they dumped off Zach Kassian, as they also dumped off their 2022 first-round pick, but in return, they just traded back a few picks anyways, and a 2024 third and a 2025 second-round pick, which honestly, they're not losing out on too much. These are going to be years where we're going to be in the playoffs majority of the time anyways. That's what we see here in the next 3 years. So honestly, not a bad move. We actually release some cap hit off the team. We get rid of Zach Kassian, which thank goodness we get his dumbass off the team. So I think it's a really good move here by the Edmonton Oilers, getting rid of Zach Kassian, and I really, really like the move here by the Edmonton Oilers, getting rid of Zach Kassian and dumping him off, and only having to give up a third and a second. I thought was a really, really good move by the Oilers. So free agency, which it was a pretty busy offseason. Now, Evander Kane was supposedly going to be, rumored to be signing like a $7-8 million deal. He was wanting a lot of money, but the Edmonton Oilers were able to get it down to just a 4-year deal at $5.125 million for Evander Kane, which I absolutely love this. It's a no movement clause for the first 3 years, and then after that, it just turns into a modified no trade clause, which he just submits like a 16-team trade list that he could go to. Honestly, really like the move here for Evander Kane. He did absolutely amazing this past season for the Edmonton Oilers. Was basically a point-per-game player, 22 goals in 43 games, and was absolutely amazing in the playoffs as well with 13 goals in 15 games as well. Was a big playoff guy for us, big guy in the regular season, played really good alongside of Connor McDavid, and now we have that goal-scoring winger to go up alongside of McDavid, and I was quite happy with us signing him because, I mean, he's an alright 5-on-5 guy. There's some concern that, yeah, he might, drop back down after this crazy shooting percentage type of year, which, yeah, that might be evidence. That might happen this year where he might just totally drop off the face of the earth again, production-wise. But I guess time will tell, you know. I think Evander Kane will still be able to produce a decent amount of points because he's going to be playing alongside of McDavid. I still think he might be able to maintain a half-decent shooting percentage. Will he be able to produce 40 goals a season? Maybe. I think we can see maybe 140 goal season, and majority of them will be between 30 to 40 goals is what I see from Kane per season. And at $5.125 million, that's a pretty good damn deal. Then we also got Brett Kulak back on the team, which I thought we weren't. 4-year deal at $2.75 million. Amazing pickup. Going to be an amazing top 4 defenseman here for the Edmonton Oilers. I really do love the Brett Kulak move and was absolutely amazing for the Edmonton Oilers. Then we also got Jack Campbell on the team at a 5-year, $5 million deal. We got him to a no-trade clause as well, where he just submits a 10-team no-trade list. This guy is a very inconsistent goaltender, though, with Jack Campbell, so of course there's a lot of big questions with him. He, had an all-right playoff appearance back when he first played with the Leafs. This past season, he didn't do very great in the playoffs, and he's been very inconsistent, and this was his very first season where he almost hit 50 games, where the first part of the season, he was a Vezina winning caliber goalie. And in the second part of the season, he struggled, got a little injured, and just was not the guy that the Maple Leafs needed him to be. So hopefully we get that Vezina caliber type of goalie out of Jack Campbell, where he played absolutely amazing in the first half of the season, and I hope we get that every single year out of Jack Campbell, because I think that's absolutely what we need. What do I think of the deal? I think it's a little long. It's definitely a big risk here with Jack Campbell, but I do believe it will work out with them, and I think it'll be a really good contract in the end of the day. But there could be, it could also be a very bad deal for the Edmonton Oilers, but that's why we didn't sign him to a no-movement clause. So if things do hit the fan, we can trade him to, a decent bulk of the NHL. He could only, not trade him to 10 other teams. We could trade him to the rest, 22 other teams in the NHL. So hopefully it'll work out here with Jack Campbell, and hopefully he'll end up being a great goaltender for the Edmonton Oilers. Otherwise, they got Matthias Janmark. Good defensive guy, produces a decent amount of points, $1.25 million. Not a bad cap hit for Matthias Janmark to play some good depth. And then we got Puljujarvi and Yamamoto back on the team as well. Puljujarvi to a 1-year, $3 million deal. Wish it was a little bit longer, but a good cap hit there for Puljujarvi, and a pretty good deal there for Yamamoto as well, 3.1 for the next 2 years. I thought it was going to be more near $4 million, especially with Jack Roslovic getting that type of cap hit, especially since Yamamoto produced about the same as what Roslovic signed. Really, really love the deal that Yamamoto got. Love the deal that Puljujarvi got. I think I love really majority of the deals that the Edmonton Oilers made this past offseason, to be quite honest with you. There wasn't one bad move that they made. Of course, there's some big risks with a lot of the moves that they made with Campbell and also with Evander Kane, but it wasn't compared to what they were making last year, where they locked up Barry, that atrocious deal. CC ended up being pretty good defensively for the Edmonton Oilers this past year. But honestly, Evander Kane, with it being, a little long in the contract, that was kind of the target I was looking around, about 3-4 years. Yamamoto got him signed to a 2-year deal, so you don't have to really worry about him. Puljujarvi got him signed back onto the team, which was good. Brett Kulak signed to a fantastic deal, and Jack Campbell, a big risk in Jack Campbell, but if it really works out, that contract could just be an absolute steal. So quite honestly, with the Edmonton Oilers, I think I'm going to give this team, with the draft that they also had, I think I'm going to give them a B+, because they didn't have the best amazing draft in the world. Shafer was really their only good selection out of it. Otherwise, they had a really bad draft. They had really good, value picks for free agency with Kulak and Campbell. Getting back Puljujarvi and Yamamoto were on good contracts. The same with Kane. Honestly, I give this team a B+ for their offseason. Of course, there would have been, maybe a little bit better depth, maybe an upgrade in the defensive core. Could have seen something like that, because honestly, relying a lot on either Broberg or Slater Cuckoo to be big guys going into the next year is definitely a big risk, in my opinion, especially since one of those guys most likely might have to play alongside Tyson Barrie. And if Broberg's going to have to play alongside Tyson Barrie, that's not going to be a very good defensive pairing, to say the least. But I could be wrong. Who knows? But for now, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Tell me, guys, in the comment section below what you guys thought of the Edmonton Oilers offseason, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Adios, amigos.